Depending on what it is. Depending on what it is.
It depends, boo. It depends, and it depends on what you're doing it for.
You gotta know.
See,
I feel
you
like
gotta know who you're talking to, man.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like I got my go-to people for certain things.
For certain things, that's right. Now, you know, when you want, all I can say is this, fool. All I can say is this. You know who in the family around you, and you know who gonna give you what you need to hear, depending on the circumstances. You know what I'm saying? You know. Shoot. You know. But some things, man, yeah, you want somebody in the family that can be objective. I practice being objective, man. I practice it. And it ain't easy.
Some people, now when they come to giving relationship advice, now a lot of people do speak from their filter and experience. Some people don't know how to remove their filter and experience and to just give general. You automatically project or reflect on how it happened to you, how you responded, how it affected you, or maybe how it didn't benefit you. You automatically giving it from that lens. And so many people, especially, they gravitate. It seems like most people go straight to the worst, the negative that could happen in a situation versus saying, you very rarely gonna hear somebody say, first take accountability and say, well, you know, that happened to me before, me and such, we was this and that, and I can't admit, you know, had I responded this way and did it this way, it probably wouldn't even happen the way it happened. They gonna automatically go to, oh, no, that's a, you know, because when that happened, nah, like I just, I ain't, but get what though? In all honesty, I'm not that way, Daddy. I'm not like that. I can listen to a person and not automatically put what happened to me, how the outcome happened for me, like it's gonna be the outcome for them.
Right, I can do that, but again, I have to be conscious of that. I have to be aware of what I'm doing when I'm talking to somebody because it'll creep in. And I know when it's creeping in, man. I have to constantly stop myself from giving some insight based on what I've been through. I gotta constantly do that, man, because it's not, for me, it's not easy because I've been through a lot of crap, and when I see it, it spooks me, and then I'm trying to throw up the warning signals, but I'm like, that don't mean it's gonna be like that for them.
But
that don't mean that.
And I'll tell you another thing that I realize I do. I give a lot of grace in my advice because.
But that's the key. Stop right there. That's the key. You may not have started out as that being. When you started doing that, whenever you can remember back when you started doing that, that takes effort. And now you probably do it just because it's just naturally feels right. But come on now, most people don't live there.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to make an effort to give, extend that grace. You got to, man.
Right.
And you got to. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Most people do.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, because like I remember Chantel shocked the hell out of me one time, boo. When you remember when I was going through all this stuff with Baby, right?
Yeah.
You remember when I was going through all that, and then once I found out what happened and all this and that, and I was talking to Chantel, and guess what she told me? Guess what she told me?
What's that?
She said, well, how do you feel about it? I said, yeah, I'll forgive her. You know what I'm saying? And I'm moving on. You feel what I'm saying? And she said, that might be the best thing. She said, because people make mistakes, boy. She said it just like that. People make mistakes. I was expecting her to chop her head off because before, you remember how Kim Collins trying to get in touch with her, Chantel called her and chopped her head off, this and that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when at the end of that, you know, once everything was found out, so on and so forth, she was like, forgive her. If you really mean that in your heart, then you do that.
Yeah. See.
And I wasn't expecting that. I had already decided what I was gonna do.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I wasn't seeking her insight to sway me one way or other. I just was laying it out there, you know, how I felt and all this and that. And she agreed. It blew me.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to. I look here. I started to get off the phone. I didn't know what I'm talking to. You know what I'm saying?
And see, that's why I said that grace is important because, like, I got a few women friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they could tell me something that's going on with a dude, and in my head, I can tell, you know what I'm saying, what kind of dude they may be dealing with. But I also have to look at myself, and I'll be like, shoot, there's a lot of people who probably done been cool with me and talk about something and didn't understand the change that has taken place in my life. You know what I'm saying? When you describing something, or you talk to a man or a woman, you can't automatically assume that person won't make the effort to make changes, compromise, make sacrifices. You can't automatically write people off because you know what I'm saying, in comparison to my experiences or what you think will happen because of what that person is describing. Like, you don't know, like, and I've said several times, even though I could be thinking, oh no, you might well go and cut that off because you gonna keep on playing with that. Listen, but then I have to say, but sometimes you gotta be able to help people to see it a different way too, depending on what they saying. You have to, well, you might not be looking at it the right, because you don't understand. Trauma affects everybody differently, which they respond to certain things differently. They communicate differently. Some people can't communicate well on when it's a hostile environment. Some people need to step away.
You have 1 minute remaining.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
Call me back real quick.
Thank you for using GTL.
Okay, so boom, if y'all ain't already on my daily podcast, go check it out. It's Doing Time with Joe. That's DOIN, Time with Joe. He also got a YouTube channel. Everybody who has subscribed to the YouTube channel and listen to the YouTube channel, I just want to let you know, we gratefully appreciate you. My bad. But yeah, he finna get ready to call back real quick. He don't know I was recording. I ain't want to let him know I was recording, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's how we rock it. That's how we rock it. Hold on. Hello?
Hello, this is a call from
Joe.
an inmate at the Smithsy Department of Corrections, the Berry Special Needs Facility. To hear your payment option,
I gotta put money on the phone.
0. To refuse this call, hang up or press.
I'm gonna come back. Y'all check this out. Let me know what you think.
Facility. Accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, hang up or press 1. Your current balance is $22.10. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Now go ahead, boy.
I forgot what I was saying, man.
No, but anyway, extending grace when you are giving advice.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, man. It's been several times where I've been wanting to, I just be wanting to give my advice, and then I have to step back and be like, well, maybe you gotta look at it this way. This person, you don't know what this person been through, what this person experienced, and why they respond the way they respond, or act the way they act. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody, it took a while for me to learn when I came home that everybody just not the same at all. Like, not like for real. Oh yeah, it really did. It took me a while to learn that about a lot of things. Everybody don't have the same ambition. Everybody don't have the same communication skills. Everybody don't have the same level of patience. Like seriously, like certain things about myself, that in areas that I know I'm good, it's always room for improvement. I got pros and cons. But in the areas where I know I'm good, everybody don't have them. Everybody don't have them.
And you bring something different to the table.
Yeah, everybody brings something different. And so, but certain things like being able to communicate, especially as an adult, you would think it would be simple. You would think it would. And it's not. It's not simple for a lot of people to communicate their feelings, what's going on with them, things that they want to talk about. And a lot of that, it can be because nobody never created a space for them to be vulnerable or talk about their emotions, or that could have been something that was looked down upon as a weakness, and so they've always carried it different. And you might never get that out of them, but you have to learn how to deal. Like me and my mama relationship, we have a weird way of communicating the emotional part that I feel that.
See,
Go ahead.
The onus is on you. That's why I say I always put the onus on me with my relationship with Chantel, with Squeaker, with Stevie, with you, with everybody. If you consider yourself to be conscious, and what you just described as being conscious, right? Doesn't mean you know everything. It's just that you're conscious. You're more aware. You're more in tune, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you consider yourself to be that, whether you do it by implication or implicit, if you consider yourself to be that, then the onus is on you to be the one that's understanding. You
Mm-hmm.
feel what I'm saying? And sometimes it appears or it feels like you're always the one that's got to be the understanding, got to take the high road. But that's not what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The same way you describe grace and when you're giving advice is the same way that you're applying that grace to the situation when you're listening to somebody. That's why when I listen to Chantel, I pray and ask the Most High, please tell me how do I say this to her so that she'll understand, because I am taking into account what she's been through.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I know what she's been through, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying to myself, I know why she acts like this. And sometimes I got to accept the fact that it's not my lesson to teach. And that's hard for me because I love my sister.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the same way with Steve. I love my brother. But sometimes it's not my lesson to teach. But that's why I still communicate. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because there is something in that for me, even though sometimes I feel like I'm being kicked around. You know what I mean?
Right.
I got to accept more. I got to accept this. I got to accept that. But I do accept that openly, willingly, because I do consider myself to be conscious.
Right.
I do consider myself. So, yeah, it don't feel good all the time. And, yeah, I'll be like, boy, this pisses me off because blah, blah, blah. You know, like the other day when we were talking, you know, you were telling me about those sales, I had to remind myself when I got off the phone. It's something way bigger than book sales. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm like, please tell me how to say this. And I did not want to call shit. I didn't want to call them, man. I didn't want to even go there. But I had to. And then once I had that talk, you know, it's like, I'm aware of what she's been through. And, like, see, sometimes, you know how when me and you were together down in Northeast, right? But then you went down to West High with your uncle, and you were able to go to another level, let's say, so to speak. You feel what I'm saying? With your growth, right? Sometimes that's what it'll take somebody different to get a person to that next level in growth.
Yeah.
And that, yeah. So, you know, giving advice, extending grace, to me, that's one side of the coin. The other part of that, as far as that grace, is when you're listening to somebody and you know that they're broken and they don't realize how it's affecting them. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be Barack Obama, and it could be the bomb on the streets. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, I like using that word. But if you consider that, like the first question you asked me, you know, do you believe most people realize this and that? And I was like, no, I don't. I don't believe most people do. You're well aware. You're well aware. You feel what I'm saying? Why? Because what you described to me as a conscious person.
Yeah.
You're making an effort.
Right.
You're making an effort to know thyself.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Come on now. How many people, like you told me the other week, you talk about you get up, you do your live, this and that. The rest of the day you just sitting around chilling, eating and all this and that, getting fat, right? Okay. Who else has that kind of time to focus on self in the working world?
Not a lot of people.
Not a lot of people at all. And they just go on and they continue to compound their traumas every day. People think that they go through something and don't nothing majorly traumatic happen, that they've had a good day.
Right.
It's not true.
A lot of people.
Every day. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Now, every day something happens that compounds those traumas. And the more compounding of the trauma that happens, the more you bury yourself. You feel what I'm saying? And so if you're not making an effort to get to thyself, then you're constantly going to be further and further away from understanding that you're broken. And then you try to tell somebody that they're broken in those words, oh, Lord have mercy, you're going to get a fight. Ain't nothing wrong with me, and whoop de woo, that's what they're going to say most of the time. But if you find that way, and nobody knows that way for each individual, if you find that way, especially when somebody opens themselves up to you, oh, it's a beautiful thing because you get to tear down those walls or help them tear down those walls by God's grace.
Right.
And then they can discover themselves. Yeah, they can discover themselves, man. It's a painful thing living with trauma, man. You know that. You know what I mean? And that's why when I listen to people talk, you know what I'm saying? You know, family, all of y'all, I don't agree with a lot of things that a lot of people say and a lot of views, right? But I'll be like, I hear you. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm trying to get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really wanting to get it. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? That don't mean I'll agree with it or not agree with it. I just really want to understand the people that I put in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I want to understand them, man. I really do.
And see, and that's the reason why a lot of racism probably exists, because the lack of consciousness and understanding somebody else walk of life and their experiences and what they dealt with, their point of views and their perspectives and things of that nature. But and a lot of times people, and I'm getting ready to end this interview. I had already told them on the break to go. They could check out the Doing Time with Joe. He didn't know who I was recording. What?
I didn't know you were recording this, boy.
So
go ahead.
So a lot of people are afraid. Some people are aware of their behavior. They're aware of their triggers. They're aware of their coping mechanisms. They are aware of their manipulative tactics, their abandonment issues. They are aware of their mama and daddy issues. Somewhere along, even if you can't exactly pinpoint, you know something is off, because it's a cycle of something that you always do. It's a cycle. It's certain things that make you respond certain ways. It's easy. You could tell you got abandonment issues because you respond the same way every time you feel like you're about to be abandoned. But it's a lot of people afraid to face it. And
courage is not an easy thing to come by, bro.
Right.
Courage is not an easy thing to come by. You like what you were getting ready to say. Afraid to face it. Do you know how much, and I know you do, I'm being sarcastic to a degree, but the amount of courage that you would have to face something about yourself that you've been noticing in small ways for 20 years, 30 years about yourself, and then you're saying that I need to face that, and that's hard. That is hard because sometimes you forget why you're like that, and then you don't want to know why you're like it because it's hard. But you said that you're talking to somebody and they say something or do something that causes you to lie. When you know, as soon as the words come out your mouth, you knew it was a lie.
You knew it.
Or they cause you, or when I say cause, I mean trigger. I don't mean make. I mean trigger something in you that makes you act a certain way. That courage that it would take to dig into that and to understand why you're doing that and making yourself vulnerable in that space to where you can get to that takes a lot of courage, and it's going to require a lot of hand-holding. And that's why I think in this society anyway, we lack that need, that desire to want to hold that other person's hand and say, come on, man. Come on, man. I'm with you on this. And yeah, it is going to hurt, but I'm with you. We lack that. We want to talk to people and say, I see this problem in you, and let me tell you what it is, and then you get up in the morning and you're going to be okay.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well,
It's not that easy.
that concludes the interview for today. You've been doing time with Big Joe and Lil Joe. Pops, you got something you want to say before we roll?
Hey, again, I didn't know he was recording this. I should have known. Because he did and said a few things that made me wonder. But anyway, I still enjoyed it anyway. Anytime my son wants to do it like that, it don't bother me one bit. I love him. And he's always up to something. And it's always something good with me. That's how I see it anyway. I love you. I love all of y'all out there. And look, thank all of y'all for the comments that you leave. And the posts and all of those things. I really do appreciate that. I know I'm not on the level that y'all are and able to see things, but when I see or get the opportunity to see or read any of those posts, it just does something to me. So thank y'all and keep it coming.
Hey, what's up, man? But y'all hold it down. Y'all know what time it is.